Anyway, let's dive right in because pre-polling has already begun. We are just a little bit over a week to Election Day, and the Democrats are in panic mode. But as we saw in 2020, things can also swing pretty quickly, which is why we need to talk about Pennsylvania, particularly Democrat Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, who is trying to become that state's next senator. Well, good for him, except for two things. Firstly, his policies, which, particularly on crime, are absolutely next-level empty the prisons bonkers. And two, and this is a more serious thing, he suffered a stroke back in May, which has been a delicate issue for everybody because he is still clearly affected, but no one has wanted to make too big a deal of it during the campaign. Except, though, at a debate this week with his opponent, celebrity Republican medico Dr. Oz, it couldn't be ignored. Here's how John Fetterman began his debate.
What qualifies you to be a U.S. Senator? You have 60 seconds.
Hi, good night, everybody.
Then there was this bizarre meltdown when confronted with his own flip-flop over fracking.
But there is that 2018 interview that you said, quote, I don't support fracking at all. So how do you square the two?
Oh, I do support fracking, and I support fracking, and I do support fracking.
And the question over whether he would release his medical records and not just a note from his doctor saying he was fit to serve.
To me, for transparency, is about showing up. I'm here today to have a debate. I have, speeches in front of 3,000 people in Montgomery County, all across Pennsylvania, big crowds. I believe if my doctor believes that I'm fit to serve, and that's what I believe is appropriate.
Now, Fetterman's health has been the dirty little secret of the campaign, which few have wanted to mention. And when one reporter, NBC's Dasha Burns, pointed out Fetterman's really obvious problems, she was dragged by her own colleagues in the press for having the bad taste to point it out. Quite the change from when Donald Trump was president, and literally his every sip of water and step was analyzed for signs that he was unfit to be president. But when asked whether Fetterman should come clean and release his medical records, the White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre didn't have much to say as usual.
The president's frequently talked about transparency, and so has this administration. Does the president believe that Fetterman should release his medical records?
I've been asked this question, and I leave that over to the lieutenant governor to make that decision.
In other words, Pennsylvanians, and indeed all Americans, are supposed to just back and accept the fact that Democrats have put up a guy for the Senate who has not only got manifestly offensive political beliefs, but who is also manifestly unfit to sit in the Senate. And I'm sorry, those are just the facts. But it is almost like a dare. After Joe Biden demonized Republicans as a threat to democracy, it's like they're trying to see just what they can get away with on their own side. I mean, it's a bit like that time the Roman Emperor Caligula tried to appoint his horse a consul in the Senate, or that time the American people elected a president who can't find his way off a stage or up the stairs of Air Force One. Because for far-left progressives who have taken over the Democrat Party, it literally doesn't matter who is in the chair so long as they follow the script. Have a listen to this. Democrat campaign strategist Brianna Joy Gray and her verdict on the Pennsylvania debate.
I also do think that a lot of voters are simply looking for the person who is going to co-sign a Democratic Party agenda versus a Republican agenda. And as many people who have been, working for many years on the Hill will attest to, it doesn't take a lot to be there to push that button or pull that lever.
Maybe that's true.
For an agenda.
She said the quiet part out loud there, admitting that the only thing matters now for the Democrats is power. In less than 2 weeks, we'll see how well that strategy works out for them.